Enjoy the magic of Christmas Day on One as Del Boy and Rodney enhance the image of the British abroad at 3:10.
You wouldn't go near that unless you had all your own teeth, would you, Robert? How will you get us near? Look at it now, look. They say that smoking's bad for your chest. Cue music, right.
Extinguish those cigarettes. You'll need all your strength at 4:40 for Bruce Forsyth's Christmas Generation Game.
Okay, come back here. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
At 6, the pace gets even hotter when Jack Nicholson as the Joker meets Michael Keaton, alias Batman. Entertainment all the way, Christmas Day on BBC One.
In 25 minutes, Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman star in the network television premiere of Rain Man, the award-winning story of a greedy, disinherited hustler and his autistic brother as they make a journey of discovery on and off the road. First on BBC One with the time at 9:10, the news with Michael Burke.
President Gorbachev is reported to have told John Major he'll decide on his resignation within 48 hours. He spent the day discussing how to hand control of nuclear weapons to Boris Yeltsin. Rebels storm the Georgian parliament. The republic's president talks of a state of war. And 8 loyalists and Republicans are arrested after the wave of sectarian killings in Ulster. Good evening. President Gorbachev spoke to John Major on the phone tonight and, according to agency reports in Moscow, told him he'd make an announcement about his resignation in the next 2 days. He was scheduled to make a televised address to the Soviet people tonight, but it was cancelled at the last minute. Earlier, he'd spent more than 6 hours with Boris Yeltsin, discussing how to hand over control of Soviet nuclear weapons. He told John Major the weapons would remain under strict control. In what appeared to be his farewell call as president, he appealed for Western aid, food, medicine and money. The Prime Minister told him that Britain now regarded Russia as having the international rights and obligations of the old Soviet Union, a position taken by the European community as a whole this afternoon. Mr. Major said President Gorbachev and his wife had a special place in the hearts of the British people.
President Gorbachev arrived at the Kremlin for what was, even by his standards, a day of extraordinary indecision. First, the evening news program here reported that Mr. Gorbachev would go on television tonight, and inevitably the speculation was that he had announced his long-awaited resignation. But in fact, all that was shown on the screen was a picture of his empty chair. The president had cancelled his appearance without explanation. If he had intended to quit tonight, it seems he suddenly changed his mind. It's now emerged that earlier Mr. Gorbachev had spoken by phone from the Kremlin to the British Prime Minister. The president apparently told Mr. Major he would announce a decision on his resignation in 2 days' time. The phone call interrupted a 6-hour meeting he had today with Boris Yeltsin. Inside Mr. Gorbachev's office, he discussed handing over control of the Soviet nuclear arsenal to the Russian president. Mr. Yeltsin's key ministers had confirmed at a news conference that the future of the nuclear button was being negotiated. Yeltsin and Gorbachev are meeting now, said the Russian Deputy Prime Minister Gennady Bobulis. They're clearing up the technical details. For several months, Mikhail Gorbachev has seen power seeping away from him. But now, in an interview with Italian radio, he's made clear the bitterness he feels about Boris Yeltsin. He and his followers have, says President Gorbachev, poisoned the atmosphere and humiliated me. The president accuses Mr. Yeltsin of undemocratic behavior. Is it not indicative, he says, that the new personalities do not answer to anyone? Is this not shameful for our democratic process? But tonight's edition of Izvestia newspaper is assuming that Mr. Gorbachev is now a man of the past. It reports he's even got a new job lined up, running a foundation for political research called the Gorbachev Fund.
Mikhail Sergeyevich Gorbachev таким образом...
And already television here has run its obituary on Mr. Gorbachev's career. It said that he'd achieved a lot, like pulling troops out of Afghanistan and Eastern Europe, but that he'd also made mistakes and left his people facing economic chaos and bloody internal conflict. Ben Brown, BBC News, Moscow.
The TASS news agency says as many as 50 people may have been killed in the Republic of Georgia, where opposition groups are trying to force President Gamsakhuria to resign. There's been heavy fighting around the parliament building in the capital, Tbilisi, where the president is under siege. From Moscow, our Foreign Affairs editor, John Simpson.
For much of the night, the rebel forces poured fire at the parliament building which the loyalists were defending. The rebels' fire was more effective, so they lost fewer men than the loyalists did. Yet as the night wore on, they weren't able to break through the defences. The leader of the uprising, Tengiz Sigua, directed the battle from his headquarters. He was Georgia's prime minister until he broke with President Gamsakhuria, accusing him of being anti-democratic. Now he's effectively trapped the president in the basement of the parliament building, from which the president himself spoke to the BBC earlier today.
Here is almost a war against government by opposition, and the attempt of the coup.